It says like this: you cannot catch hold of it, nor can you get rid of it. In not being able to get it, you get it. When you speak, it's silent. When you're silent, it speaks. Now, in not being able to get it, you get it. Because this whole feeling, what Krishnamurti is trying to explain to people, for example, when he says, why do you ask for a method? There is no method. All methods are simply gimmicks for strengthening your ego. So how do we not do that? He says, you're still asking for a method. There is no method. If you really understand what your I is, you will see there is no method. This is so sad. But it's not. This is the gospel, the good news. Because if you cannot achieve it, if you cannot transform yourself, that means that the main obstacle to mystical vision has collapsed. That was you.
Please, now, don't cling to the remedy, to the method. This is the emphasis of J. Krishnamurti. But this is his first sutra. This should be the fourth. That's where he is wrong. It cannot be the first sutra. How can you drop a method that you have never used? You can drop only a method that you have used. Atisa is far more logical, far more scientific than J. Krishnamurti. And I can understand why he emphasizes. Because he is afraid that if you go into 3 sutras, the 4th may never arrive. You may be lost in the 3. Many are lost in the preliminaries. Many are lost in the methods. So he has become too cautious. Extremely cautious. Those 5 idiots were carrying the boat. And J. Krishnamurti is teaching on the other shore to people, don't enter in the boat. Too cautious. Because if you enter in the boat, who knows? You may start carrying the boat on the head. So please don't enter. And there are many who have become afraid of entering in the boat. But to be afraid of entering in the boat is the same idioticness. There is no difference. One who is afraid of entering the boat is the same person who will carry the boat. Otherwise, why should you be afraid? There are old friends of mine who have followed J. Krishnamurti for their whole life. They come to me and they say, we would like to come here, but we are afraid of all the methods that you teach. Methods are dangerous, they say. Methods are dangerous only if you are unaware. Otherwise, they can be used beautifully. Do you think a boat is dangerous? It is dangerous if you are thinking to carry it on your head for your whole life, out of sheer gratitude. Otherwise, it is just a raft to be used and discarded. All methods are rafts to be used and discarded, used and abandoned, used and never to be looked back again. There is no need, no point. These are 2 extremes. One extreme is those 5 idiots, and the other extreme is the followers of J. Krishnamurti. There is no need to be either. My approach is use the boats, use beautiful boats, use as many boats as possible with this awareness that when the shore is reached, the boat is abandoned with no clinging. While you are in the boat, enjoy it. Be thankful to it. When you get out of the boat, say thank you and move on.
All right, what is up, YouTube? I hope you guys like those two clips I put up. Alan and Osho are two of my favorite people to listen to, and the fact that they were talking about another master, Krishnamurti, was just extra interesting. So I was hoping I could just go over what they were saying, maybe understand, what they were saying a little better, maybe help you guys understand a little better if you're watching. Yeah, so I think the most important thing Alan said during his little, minute spiel was that understanding what your eye is going to help you understand why there is no method. And I think he says that because when you're asking about your eye, you're essentially asking about your ego. And if you're asking about it, then you're kind of strengthening the fact that you believe that it exists, which apparently, I don't know anything, I'm not enlightened or anything, but apparently realizing that that ego doesn't exist is a whole big part of waking up. And so you can say the same thing about trying to use a method to reach enlightenment. If enlightenment is right here and now, you don't really need a method, which is what Krishnamurti is trying to say. Like, you don't need a method to get to where you are now. So if you're able to drop your eye, you're also able to drop your method, which should lead you to enlightenment. But that seems to be a lot easier said than done. Osho's part, though, I love listening to Osho. He's so much fun. He was kind of poking fun at Krishnamurti, but I mean, Jiddu Krishnamurti just takes everything so seriously. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's funny because, like, when I listen to him, and it might just be me, but he sounds genuinely frustrated, and Osho's the opposite. He's just so relaxed and trying to have a good time. But I digress. One thing, if you aren't familiar with the boat analogy, then you're probably confused what they're talking about. Getting in the boat, carrying it on their head, not getting in the boat. It's essentially, if you think about your mind when it's asleep versus your mind when it's awake, think of it as two shores, and there's a river in the middle, and you have a boat that's going to get you from sleeping to awake. And essentially, that boat symbolizes a method, a meditation of some sort that's going to wake you up. So when he's talking about people with the boats on their head, essentially these people have used the method, they've meditated, they've got to the other shore, which is being awake, being enlightened, but they're now encumbered by the boat, by the method. They think that they need to carry it around because that's how they got there, when in reality, you just need the boat to get there. You don't need it for anything else after that. I mean, how much better would it be being on the other shore if you had to have a boat on your back at all times? Is that really that much better than being in the other shore where you're asleep, but you don't have a fucking boat on your back? I don't know. It's not really for me to to assume, but what Krishnamurti is saying in Osho's mind is, instead of getting in the boat and taking it to the other side, you just don't get in the boat at all. If you don't get in the boat, you're not doing the method, and essentially that means you're just going to stay in the sleeping shore your whole life, which, it makes sense. It's all very, it's analogies, it's metaphors, it's anecdotes, so it's not obviously a direct comparison for awakening. I don't think anything is. But another analogy I heard Alan use was, if you think of your ego as having a thorn in your side, and you grab another thorn to kind of pry out that thorn, then that other thorn would be the method. But the problem is you can't keep that other thorn in you, or else it's still the same problem. So essentially, use a thorn to get that thorn out, and then you have to discard that thorn, just like you have to leave the boat in the river. I hope that makes sense. I made a little analogy that I'm probably gonna fuck it up, but here it goes. So imagine you are a triathlete and you are a terrible swimmer, you're an alright biker, and you're an amazing runner. And you're in this race, biggest race of your life. You start swimming, you suck ass, you're a bad swimmer, so you get into the bike race very last. Now, you're just an average bike racer, but thankfully, you got this wicked ass bike. It goes super fast, and it's gonna help you. It's gonna fucking get you in the lead by the time you get to the running portion, which you're already amazing at anyways, so you're gonna win. So essentially, he does a swimming, sucks ass, gets to the bike, absolutely kills it, and at the end of the bike portion, he's like, wow, this bike helped me so much. I can't just leave it here. It's how it got me in first. I'm going to win this race with the bike. So instead of just running and winning the race, this person grabs the bike and carries it with him for the whole run, obviously encumbering him, making it so he can't run as fast. And eventually, you know, halfway through, he's going to pass out from exhaustion, when if he had just left the bike there, he could have won the race. Now, is that a perfect analogy? Probably not. I hope someone's going to understand it. Maybe you can comment down below where I lost you at. But thank you so much for making it this far. This is my first video. A little awkward, but you know, we got through it. And I guess I'm going to end it here. So, memento mori, everyone. Thanks again for watching.